So at the end of the last video that I put out, I told you that we were going to be working on a new tunnel project, and I showed you the rods behind the barn. And in this video, we're going to talk about how we got to the point where we are now and the process that we use to get these hoops bent and spacings and all of that good stuff right after this. Welcome back, guys. Me and Betsy just got back. We made a compost run and got 3 yards of this organic compost. Really good stuff. We found a local supplier. When I say local, he's 20-25 minutes from here. We can go get a load and back in an hour, so if that tells you anything. And it's good stuff. It's reasonably priced. Their delivery fee will kill you, but we can go get it, bring it back cheaper than they can deliver it. It's $40 a yard, and we have found that 1 yard will do one bed really thick, and it's 40 bucks. I mean, you cannot beat it. It is just a crazy deal for us, especially on some of these new beds that we're building. And you can see behind me, I've got 6 of them pulled up here. And we were doing our own mulch, and you can see back here, that's a pile of it. We were doing our own mulch, sifting it, and it wasn't costing us anything, which was great, but we had a little bit of labor involved with it. And at this time of year, we're trying to move faster into things a lot faster. And when I run across this deal here, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. Now, we're still using that. We're mixing it with this as we go, and if we have a little spot that we need to kind of fill in, like on these beds of turnips here that we've been harvesting on, you can see how the rain has kind of washed all of it out. You know, we'll go back and utilize some of that to kind of fill in the gaps. But yeah, this compost that we're getting now is really good stuff. It's organic, and we are pretty pleased that we found that. And good thing is it's on the way back from one of the markets that we go to, so we're going that way anyway. Win-win for us. So yeah, it's mid-April here. Things are really taking off. You can see we got leaves on the trees. Everything is actually, you know, blooming. Everything is in full go mode. It is actually, everything's doing really well around here. Now we still getting some cooler temperatures, morning time or nighttime temperatures. The past couple days it's been in the upper 40s. This morning it was 42 degrees, so it was rather cool. But you know, a lot of our plants are hardening off. They are just sitting there ready to go in the garden. I don't think we're going to have any more frost or cold killing weather. So we got to get these guys ready, and that's what a lot of this compost and stuff is. Tomatoes, you know, some of these guys are blooming. Cherry tomatoes. A ton of cherry tomatoes I showed you in the last video. All of these are sun golds, and I'll explain to you where those guys are going. Peppers, I'll explain to you where they're going. More peppers, more tomatoes. Yeah, just so on and so forth. So this garden over here is actually full. Everything. We've got lettuce. This is Tropicana. I just transplanted it, and this is actually some of the mulch that we got from the same place. Holds moisture really well. Haven't found anything negative about it so far. That lettuce was planted less than a week ago, and I can already tell that it is responding really well. These beets were planted, me and Jace planted them 2 or 3 days ago, so I'm expecting those guys to take off. We got more beets, leftover onions, beets on that end, beets on this end, radishes, either Crunchy King or Sora. I can't remember which, one or the other. Crunchy King, Sora, one or the other. And we got some daikon radishes. I got an Alpine, a purple one I think it's called Bravo, and then we got another one, I can't remember what it is. It's a red master something. Anyway, it's a red daikon. And then we got our carrots over here. So yeah, everything's looking absolutely fabulous out there. Take a little trip inside the tunnel here. Man, it is hot. I need to cut this fan on. I think it's 90 degrees in here already. But anyway, determinate tomatoes. Over there, you seen us trellis those guys, and we had a windstorm come through a couple of days ago and broke a few panels in here. And we're going to fix that problem here pretty soon. But It broke one of my tops out of my tomato plant, and I don't think that guy is going to get any bigger. So we're going to leave it as it is. They need to be trellised again. These cucumbers need to be trellised. And if you look really hard, some of these guys have cucumbers on them already. I seen them the other day. Well, Jace actually pointed out to me, told me to pop the cucumbers in here. And I seen one. It's a really good size one. But yeah, they need to be trellised, and we'll get to that in another video. These are Primo Red tomatoes, and you can see these guys have tomatoes on them, and they need to be trellised. And all of this stuff over here that you see, all of these plants here, a lot of cucumbers, a lot of squash, fennel, more tomatoes, patty pan squash, cucumbers, and a whole lot of zucchini. Sugar snap peas are going downhill. Betsy's been cleaning those out. This row has been mulched, ready to plant. Probably going to get a row of cherry tomatoes, more like Mountain Magic. I'm not sure yet how we're going to do that. Told you it was almost 90 degrees. Yeah, it's hot in here. Yeah, get outside where there's a little bit of wind blowing. But yeah, have been working on the bottom gardens down there. We've been harvesting strawberries every day. She's getting a lot of strawberries now. Been working on beds down there. We're going to do 50-foot beds down there this year. We did 100-foot beds last year. And I got my reasoning behind sticking with 50-foot beds, and I'll get into that more when we start down there. But I want to finish up here first before we head that way. And this is where we're going to build this new tunnel. And I've been working on it a little bit. I'm going to work on it some more today. But we got some leftover kohlrabi, and this lettuce is actually coming back from where I cut it earlier in the season. And y'all seen the video when I planted this lettuce. It's new red fire, and it's coming back from being cut off completely at the ground. So that tells you how hardy it is. Leftover onions down there on the other end, and after that, everything in here will be out, and then we can start fresh. And I will tell you exactly what we're going to put in these beds as soon as we get everything cleaned out. I do know that we're going to work on a row of peppers on one side, a row of peppers on the other side, simply because of the wall height. And the 3 center rows, which these are 5 beds in this tunnel, are going to be more like cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, or either cucumbers in the middle and cherry tomatoes on both sides. And this tunnel here is specifically going to be for either or. Peppers, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, all cucumbers, all cherry tomatoes, one or the other. We'll probably get 2 or 3 plants in here this season. But we're going to mix it up a little bit and see what we can make happen with it, what likes growing in protective culture more, and then we will move from there, because eventually this whole area will be this size tunnel. I'm shooting to put 4 tunnels in this one little area. We're not going to wait to put tunnels in. We're going to go ahead and utilize it to grow row crops right now, but we are going to finish this tunnel up and get plastic on it here probably in the next week and a half maybe. So I'm gonna go down through here and give you a little rundown on spacing and what we're using, how we're using it, kind of where we're getting it from. And when it's all said and done, I'm gonna give you a number figure on where I am right now, so you can compare the cost versus buying. Square footage wise, it is cheaper to buy. But if you don't have the funds to foot the bill for what I would think would probably be close to a $3,000 to $4,000 tunnel, you know, this is an option. It works. You can go kind of pay as you go, and you know, I'm gonna give you the numbers so you can make that decision for yourself. So I watched a ton of videos when it come to me trying to figure if a DIY kit was for me or not. I'm a hands-on kind of person. I like to do things myself. With that being said, sometimes it is not necessarily the cheapest option, but you will know what you have when you get done. And this kind of started a year or so ago. I bought the hoop bender, and I'm gonna show you the hoop bender here in a minute. I got it from Bootstrap Farmer, and there's several different models out there. You can buy them from Johnny's, you can buy them from Bootstrap, and I even think Farmer's Friend has one out now. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but there's several options when it comes to bending hoop. You can make your own hoop bender. It's really not that difficult. I will say this before we get into numbers. If you buy these rods from Lowe's, Home Depot, you will probably not save any money with that option, simply because they have literally skyrocketed in price. The top rail fencing, I think at Lowe's right now, is $30 a piece, $28 to $30 a piece, where 3 or 4 years ago they were $12 to $15 a piece. So, you know, looking at it this way, and I'm gonna tell you why I went this route, but I have a contact with a local fence company that buys rods in bulk, and I purchase mine from him, and I get them a lot cheaper than you get them for Lowe's. The 1 5/8", which that's what this is, and you use that for ground post. The 1 5/8" ground post, I can get 10-foot sections for $13 to $15 a piece. Whereas if you bought that from Lowe's, like I said, that's $30 all day long. I get my 1 3/8", which is what you're going to make your hoops out of. I buy them in 20-foot sticks. Now, you can't buy a 20-foot stick from Lowe's or Walmart or anything like that. You're going to buy a 10-foot stick, and it's going to cost you $28 to $30 for a 10-foot stick. Now, I pay $21 for a 20-foot stick, and I have to cut. I use one 20-foot, and I cut one, and I use a 10-foot section out of that. So you can see that my bows are solid all the way. Well, not on that one, because you start from this way. 20-foot bow all the way up, and it's pieced together with a 10-foot section here and there. That is the only place it is put together is in one spot. So with the route that I'm taking, going through a local fencing company to buy my material at cost, I'm saving $20 per bow, and I'm saving probably another $20 per ground post. So if you had to piece this together from like Lowe's or Home Depot, buying it from the big box store, paying retail for it, you're going to have more money tied up in it, because you're going to be paying, you know, out the butt for materials, and you're going to have close to $90 tied up in this one section, because you're talking 30, 60, 90 for a 10-foot stick. Now you're going to put 3 10-foot sticks together to make this bow, and you're going to have $90 tied up in that one bow. This one alone, even including the ground post, I've got less than 35, 40 bucks tied up in it. So is it cheaper? Yes, with the route that I'm taking. If you had to buy it retail and pay retail costs for the material, no, it's not, because you're talking close literally to $100 per bow. And there's 14 bows in this tunnel that I'm building here, and it's only a 52-footer. All right, so let's talk numbers. I've got 14 bows that are going to be in this tunnel, and you can see, looking back, don't mind the weeds, because all this will be gone here in about a week. All these bows that you see, even including the ground post, I have roughly $900 tied up in this tunnel at this point. I'm not finished with the bows, but I do have the material, so that's why I said, you know, I know figure-wise what I've got. Bow material alone, which is what I've got laying back here. All of these rods will be on this tunnel here, hopefully before dark. And everything that you see, bows alone, I've got $600 in bows, $612 if I was being precise. Ground rods, I've got close to $300 in those. So I'm saying just a tick over $900 is what I have invested in this tunnel so far. That is going to be the most expensive part. The plastic is going to be fairly cheap. I imagine I'll have maybe $250 tied up in plastic total, tops, end walls, completely. When I get done, you know, close the doors, open the doors, planting in here, I'm gonna put up a final number of what I've got invested in this 52 by 20 high tunnel, and we will compare costs to if I bought it somewhere else. Now, you know, it's not going to be realistic for a lot of folks if you can't buy raw material as cheap as I'm getting it, but I'm going to give you costs that I have in it and compare it to if I had to buy this tunnel. All right, so I'm going to show you the method that I'm using to bend these rods, and trust me, as simple as they come, but you know, if it's effective, then that's what I'm going to do. But here is what I'm using to bend them. And keep in mind now, this tube bender is going to set you back $100. So let's figure that price into this and say we've got $1,000 in this already. This is my hoop bender. This is how I'm bending my hoops. I've got 2 number 3 rebars drove into the ground to hold it. I'm taking the raw material, sticking it in here. I'm bending the 20-foot section, and then I'm adding my 10-foot section to it and bending that with it also. Now, I tried it the other way. I tried to bend the 10-foot section and then add it to the 20-foot section afterwards. And I'm gonna show you what happened, and I've got to redo this one, so don't think I'm gonna leave it up there. Y'all know me, I'm not a crooked person. I love things straight, I love things even, and I'm really tickled with the way these hoops are bending, because a lot of people say, man, they won't be straight, they won't be uniform, they won't be this, they won't be that. And I want you guys to look. These things are pretty freaking straight. They're pretty symmetrical. I mean, except for one. And I'm gonna point it out to you. Right there. You can see as it comes out of this, it's got that straight right here, and then it bends. And that's killing me. That right there alone is killing me. I can see it, and it's like, you know, this big red sign that says wrong, wrong, wrong. That's the way my mind's seeing it. So y'all can see, you know, the method to the madness here. And I'm gonna see if it stands out a little more in the background, but you can see where that screw is, the straight run, and then it starts bending. So yeah, I'm gonna take all that down. I'm gonna redo it. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave it like that. But look at the rest of them. They are just as, I mean, they just perfect almost. I mean, I ain't gonna say perfect because I'll screw the rest of them up. That's just how it works. But they are absolutely, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's as good as, I mean, and y'all know me, I'm weird about stuff like that. I mean, it's acceptable in my book. Except for that right there. That's not acceptable. Put this in here and pull it. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to force it, because then you'll see a definite little crease or ridge in that pipe. And I'll show you when I get everything done. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so that's one complete bow. You see you got one open end, and then you're going to have one swag end, which at this point it doesn't matter because they're both going to go into that, what we call a ground post. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it up there and go ahead and put one up. And you'll get an idea on, I mean, it's a one-man job. It's not really hard. It's just cumbersome because this thing is 20 feet wide. And it's a little wider than 20 feet, but you want it to spring a little bit so it holds tension in there and it don't slide all the way down in the pipe. But I'm gonna take the camera over here and set it up, and then I'm gonna get this over here and get one put up and show you guys how it goes. There we go. That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick a fork in it and call it done. I got all 14 of them in, and don't pay no mind to how they're waving in and out. I'm gonna be honest with you, each one of these rods bent different. Every one of them bent just a little bit different one way or the other. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. There's a couple in here I'm probably gonna have to go back and tweak, but for the most part, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I know the ground posts are in line. I know everything's straight there. I shot those with a transit, so I know they're perfect, both sides. And I run a string down through there, and it's broke now, but I run a string down through there, so I know everything from here down is good. So once I get the baseboards in, and then we come up and put the hip boards in, that will kind of shore everything up down the center. And then when we get ready to put the center purlin in, or ridge pole, and then the two outside purlins in, that will shore everything in and bring everything in line. So don't pay a whole lot of attention to how wanky it looks, because trust me, if you watched any of my videos, I cannot stand anything that is not straight or level, and it just tears my nerves up. So this thing will be straight when it gets done, I promise you that. So yeah, that probably took me close to 3 hours. I had to run to town to get some more screws and run out of screws, but right now, final tally with the ground post and the rods and a box of screws, I'm in this thing for $1,020. Let's just say that, simply because I'm adding a few odds and ends in there. $600 for the poles, another $3 something for the ground post, $20 worth of screws, and it was something else I was going to add in. Oh, the kit for the hoop bending kit. So $1,020. That's what we in it for right now. So if we're going to keep up with the cost of this thing, that means I've got a little over $1,480 to spend on it to come in at $2,500. Now, the plastic, the lumber, the ridge poles, all the accessories, and the hardware for the scissor door end walls is what I'm gonna call them. I don't see me spending $1,480. I just don't. So, you know, but I'll keep adding this up. Every video I'll keep adding to it, and then when we finally get done, said and done, and ready to plan in this thing, we'll see what the final cost is. All right, guys, so don't miss next week's video. We'll be pulling this thing together. We'll be making it more rigid, more stronger. We'll be putting the baseboards in, the ridge poles, all that good stuff, and locking everything down and getting ready to put plastic on this guy. So make sure you don't miss that one. And as always, guys, we appreciate you stopping by. We thank you for your support, and we'll see you on the next one.